prepare, respond, serve. This is 5 Stone. The contents of this podcast are the personal opinions and views of 5 Stone and our affiliates. This is not a recommendation for medical practice or a guide for decision making or even to take place for your own personal judgment. We recommend that you always seek out in-person professional training and always follow your established policies and procedures. Now, with that said, let's get after it.
Oh, what up?
What's up, man? It's good to have everybody back in here again.
It's been a minute.
It has been. We're like everybody else in the whole eastern half of the U.S., been covered in ice and snow.
Bro, I'm so sick of the snow.
I know it. I like the cold, but I just don't like you can't drive in it.
I decided last night I'll enjoy the snow after I retire. Like,
just gonna wait till then.
Yeah, if it doesn't snow for another 6 years, and then I retire and don't have nothing to do, don't have to get out and go to work, then I would love that.
That's hilarious.
Oh, yeah, if I just have to stay at home, I love the snow. That's awesome. I want to get out in it.
That means you got, instead of being a snowbird, you got to be the opposite. You got to go to Florida now. Then when you retire, you just go up north.
I would so do that.
I want to go out west. I want to live out west.
I do too.
That'd be awesome, man. Like Montana or Colorado or somewhere. Yeah, man.
Of course, we watch like HGTV and all those remodeling shows. Yeah. And the stuff out west. Man, I love that.
No, man. That's
I'd
awesome.
love to.
The old trappers and hunters and stuff, man, just live simple and off the grid.
Yeah, that'd be
That's
awesome.
the way to be.
Yeah.
So what we got today, man, this is going to be another motivational Monday.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think we're going to talk about having a purpose.
All right.
You got to have a purpose. And I know we talked last night about trying to get prepared for topics. Mm-hmm. And the first thing that comes to mind is a Corey Taylor lyric. Do you serve a purpose or purposely serve? And I think that it's open to interpretation. There's a lot of people will probably look at that differently. Yeah. And to be honest with you, I don't know if I've nailed it down on how I feel about it. But I do believe if you don't have a purpose in whatever you're doing, whether it be your career or just life in general, or being a Christian, mm-hmm. You won't get as much out of it.
So, do you serve a purpose or do you purposely serve?
Yeah. So
that's the lyric.
Yeah.
So how do you interpret that really?
So the way I looked at it. So do you serve a purpose? In my opinion, serving a purpose is that you are like a tool or you're like a pawn in somebody else's game. I think, like I explained it, like a motor. Like you've got gears at work, and I feel like if you're serving a purpose, you're just a cog in those gears. Mm-hmm. You've got one job, one purpose. But if you are the one that's serving or purposely serving, big picture, like you're the power to that motor.
Yeah. The way I look at it is, do you serve a purpose? It's like right now. Maybe I look at it in a different perspective, but like right now, this time period, right now in your life, the people that's listening, like, do you serve a purpose? Like, mm-hmm. What are you doing right now? Yeah. Are you just like wasting your time? Are you being non-productive? Or, so that's how I look at it. Or do you purposely serve? Do you intentionally go out with intent to have a reason behind what you do?
That word intent, I like that.
Yeah. And it's really, I think, my opinion, I don't know, my view of it is, are you selfish or are you unselfish? Our motto, our creed is prepare, respond, and serve. So we don't serve for ourselves. We serve for other people, right? Because we're first responders. We're the front line. This is what we do. So that's the way I look at it. I don't know.
I like that. We talked about how it kind of goes into like us being a Christian. Yeah. Why... Like you asked earlier, why do we become a Christian? Why do we go to church and then get saved? Yeah. Like the main purpose is to just be safe, not go to hell.
Yeah. How selfish is that?
Yeah, and it's extremely selfish.
Yeah, it is.
And it may be everybody's first initial intention. And growing up in some Pentecostal churches, that's what they preached. If you don't rise, you're going to hell. That's that can be scary.
Yeah.
But you got to once you secure your place, I guess, it's like, okay, I'm saved. Then you got to purposely serve.
Right. Yeah.
You've got to step up and put your heart and soul into it. You got to find a place that you're meant to be.
Yeah.
And do your work.
Well, if you look at it from the point of people that, say you grow up in church like we did. We grew up together in the same church together, right?
Yeah.
And we grow up and we're like, when you're younger, you're self-absorbed, you're self-consumed.
Yeah.
It's just the stages of like psychological development, but like it's all about yourself. It's all about your image. It's all about your clothes. It's all about your friends and your popularity and everything that you do. And then you graduate high school. It's all about your career. It's all about that's all your life is focused on. That's the way society kind of pushes us to be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
to be accepted.
Yeah. And so to take that and flip it, like in the public service world, that's where it really, I think a lot of people be like, you know what, I'm doing this job for other people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But same thing with Christianity, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, hey,
And like I said,
I want to get saved so I don't burn in hell. Well, that's a pretty good reason.
it's a good motivational tool, but there's more to it.
Yeah, that's like, but that's not the purpose of it.
If you can't just stop there.
Yeah,
It's like you gotta put in more work, get more people in.
Yeah, it's kind of neat how this podcast just kind of goes wherever.
Yeah.
That's really cool. You got a lot of people out there probably listening to it and being like, man, this is like, what do they do? And, you know what I'm saying? Talking about religion, talking about that. It can go wherever it wants to go. You know what I'm saying? It's our podcast. And
First rule of 5 Stone, there are no rules.
There you go. Hey, nobody talks about 5 Stone.
Yeah. No, that's not true. Let's not do that. You need to talk about it.
Okay.
But we can just go wherever we want to.
Yeah. So, prepare, respond, serve. Why do you serve? Are you somebody who is like, every podcast, and like I mention teachers. I don't know why, but I always mention teachers.
You always talk about teachers.
Yeah, I don't know why, but yeah, it's always on my mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, most people become teachers because I'm sure there's some people who's like, well, I want to have the summers off or I want to do whatever, but because they like kids. They want to help kids grow and develop. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely
do
a service.
certain things. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's a service mentality or a servant's heart. Then hopefully, most of your healthcare workers, first responders, law enforcement, things like that, are like it's to protect and what?
Serve.
To serve.
Yeah.
Serve other people. You've always got bad apples in every group that are just in it to try to get money, try to get recognition. I'm just going to do it because it's just what I want to do.
And again, I think a lot of people start out, even in our career as an EMS, fire, police, that, hey, I want to help people. I want to serve. And it's easy to get burnt out, after a while.
Yeah.
And it's also easy for those old timers. We talk about that old salty medic.
Salty medics.
That's just got that terrible attitude. That's contagious.
Yeah.
So it's easy to get in that mentality or that mindset, like, I just want to get my paycheck and go home. But it's very important to avoid that and to focus on serving.
Yeah.
I truly believe, like, every time I go to work, I think about my how do I put that? Like my priorities in my role. We've got like the hospital sends transfers out all the time. But my primary role is to protect our community.
Yeah.
So that's number one on my checklist. Do I got enough trucks to serve my community? It sounds kind of basic, but it's a big deal.
Well, that's the side of things a lot of people don't see and understand. They're like, they're ambulance drivers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot to it to make sure that you're doing that service.
Yeah.
Whether it's manpower, whether it's staffing, whether it's just, the mental health of your people that we talk about all the time. You know what I'm saying? Having that resource for people. There's a whole lot to it so we can serve.
And something else was ironic. Yesterday I seen a newspaper clipping that was from my grandma's estate. From in the mid to late 80s, mid 80s, I think. Mm-hmm. And there was an article about, it was actually the newspaper clipping had my grandfather's obituary in it. Like, that's why it was being saved.
Huh.
But my eye immediately went to one of the topics on the other side of the page, and it was about Lake Cumberland EMS.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what we talked about on the first podcast. Yeah.
And
if you haven't listened to that podcast, go back and listen to it. It's about the founding of EMS in the area and the region and your dad and how it got established.
And
it's
bro,
an awesome podcast,
if I knew
man.
this is where we were going today, I would have brought that newspaper clip.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But again, extremely ironic. But it was basically covering the court sessions locally in Adair and Taylor County, because it was a big regional ambulance service.
Yeah.
About Lake Cumberland EMS, basically keeping their contract, going ALS, advanced life support. But I specifically remember my dad talking about the argument about ALS. Like, we had some people on the
which, for those listening, that's advanced life support.
Yeah. So basically, your basic EMT levels and then your advanced paramedic levels. But in the 80s, all we had was the basic levels, essentially. There was very few paramedics, very little advanced coverage. But they were trying to get a full ALS service here, and the people the courts in Adair and Taylor County didn't want it. They thought it was a waste of money, waste of effort.
Wow.
Until one of the dudes on that committee had a heart attack and needed help.
Yeah.
And then and if I'm not mistaken, don't hold me to this, but if I'm not mistaken, I do believe he did pass away from this event, and his wife stepped up and was like an advocate for it, and got it pushed in. Yeah. So until you need something, you don't know really.
Right. Whenever it impacts you, you know what I'm saying? And it kind of goes back to the whole selfish reasoning.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But sometimes it takes something impacting you in a selfish way to let you turn it and see it towards other people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's the benefit of it. I don't know.
Like, one of the main reasons I wanted to talk about having a purpose was over the last 4 to 6 months, my father-in-law got sick.
Yeah.
He was the pastor of a church, still is. He's the pastor of a church in Richmond. We've been going to Richmond, for years. I've been with my wife for, is 2021 right now? Mm-hmm. So 20.
Don't mess this up, dude.
21 years.
Jess, are you listening?
we started dating in 2000.
No, that's a good comeback. Hey, at least you can say when you started dating.
Yeah, I'm just I don't math good,
Oh man, you're in so much trouble when you get home.
Seriously, our first date, September 11th of 2000.
Oh, man.
So like I've always been able to remember that because of that date.
Yeah.
But been going to this church for years. Being an EMS, being in multiple bands, I've never lived right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I've since we got married in 2009. Really only went to church just to keep the peace and make sure I wasn't getting fussed at.
That's crazy, because we were both raised in church. Like, every time the doors are open, we had to be there.
Well, I got burnt in a church one time. We went to a big church in Columbia, and we had this big revival, and man, I was sold. I was in it to win it.
Yeah.
And the old folks of the church shut it down. Didn't want to. Y'all can't do this. It's too wild.
Yeah.
So, I just don't take rejection well, I guess.
Yeah.
And I've kind of rebelled ever since.
Yeah.
And then watching my dad suffer for years.
Yeah.
I struggled with the whole idea of faith and religion.
In that same church, this reminds me of something. In that same church, I can remember sitting next to my mom in this church. And it was before the youth group really grew. Remember, we went from 4 or 5 youth group members to
was it called
60.
The Rock?
Yeah, called The Rock. Relying on Christ. Yeah. ROC.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And it was went from 4 people to 60. Legit. It blew up, And I can remember, before all that happened, I can remember sitting in that church next to my mother. And I looked over at her and I said, how come? And I was probably, 13, 14 years old. And I said, how come he always talks about God and giving and love? And, y'all don't do anything for anybody else. Like, nothing's ever done for anybody in the community, or like nothing.
Yeah.
And here I am, 12, 13 years old. I'm thinking about service.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, why? I'll never forget it, man.
Yeah.
Mom turned around and looked at me. This is in the middle of church. She got down in my ear and she goes, "What are you doing?" Dude. I was like, well, since you put it that way, why don't you just slap me in the face?
How dare you turn the tables.
Yeah. I was like, yeah. Dude, but at that moment that she said that to me, that changed my life.
Yeah.
You know, it made me realize, like, am I serving a purpose? Or am I purposely serving? You're exactly right. It leads to that point.
Yeah.
I was in church to learn about God and be saved and try to live right so I don't burn in hell.
But
yeah, and then all of a sudden it was like, hey, let's start getting a youth group and get more people going.
Yeah.
Well, why? So we can get people here at church that's never heard about God.
Yeah.
Let's get a basketball league going. Why? Because it's going to bring people in, and then we can witness to them and do stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, hey, let's get a volleyball team. Let's get this. Let's get that. And dude, here it blew up. It's the biggest youth group anywhere around. You know what I'm saying? And it was cool.
Yeah.
So it went from like serving a purpose to being a church in the community to purposely serving the community.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I was going.
Yeah.
You know, like I was just going to be going again to keep the peace. Mm-hmm. And then when my father-in-law got sick with COVID, he couldn't, you know, he always played guitar. He's played music for years, always played guitar and sang in church. His son played drums. And when he got sick, everybody had to step up. So his son was on drums, moved to play guitar.
Yeah.
And a lot of people in the church stepped up and taken new roles. So I did the same. Started playing drums for him. And I've been a drummer for like 25 years. So
you're not very good, but
I'm the world's okayest drummer.
Yeah, you're pretty good, man.
But
you've only had 25 years of practice.
Yeah, not a whole lot. Anyway, I feel like I found my purpose.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a service as well. You know, being a musician is a service, in my opinion. Yep. So now that I'm putting effort into, you know, the church, into the kingdom, I honestly feel like I've gotten way more out of it than I ever have.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like my marriage is better than it ever has been.
Yeah.
The convictions on, you know, trying to live better and to talk better, trying to put my efforts towards stuff that matters, you know, stuff like that. It's really made a change. So I feel like if you got to find your purpose to start to get yourself in that mindset. Because if you put forth no effort, just sit on the couch all day long, watch TV, and just complain, just, you know, all the time, you're never going to be fulfilled. You're never going to get anything out of it.
Yeah,
you know. So if you get up and it may be whatever, woodworking, go to your garage, start putting, you know, making stuff.
Maybe you're a stay-at-home parent.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows?
Get them clean the house.
Yeah. Jess, I think he's talking to you again. You're in so much trouble.
Honestly, I probably need to do that more. But
I know I do.
But honestly, like since I've been putting forth this effort into the church, my energy's been better. I feel motivated to get up and do stuff. It's just different.
I think it does boil down to intent.
Yeah.
If you have the intent behind doing what you're doing, then you find that focus and you find that reason and you find the purpose. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? For serving, no matter on what level you're doing. You know, a lot of these people go out and they strike it rich and have these big companies and they do all this and it's for monetary gain.
Yeah.
But do those people really go out and serve other people? I think once you do that and you live that way, you realize, like, what was it, Mother Teresa? She died with nothing.
Yeah.
You know, all the people across the world she touched and she had nothing to her name.
I mean, you hear it all the time. You're not going to take it with you.
Yeah. You know, so it's like, hey, I'm going to serve other people.
Yeah.
You know, and it ain't about what she has, it's about what she did.
You got to really look at, you know, you talk about the people that try to start or try to run a business for money only. Mm-hmm. And then the people that run a business that are super successful, there's a big difference in what they put in the community.
Oh yeah.
You know,
You're
like
right,
you got
yeah.
somebody that just hoards their own money, that pays their employees crap. They don't put anything into the community, nothing like that.
Yeah.
They're really not as successful. I mean, you can technically call them successful because they got a bunch of money. But
is that
the
success?
companies that are super successful, like worldwide, like people are talking about them all the
Yeah.
time.
Well, it depends on how you define success.
Yeah, you're right.
Now, success in today's society, everybody equates it to money.
Mm-hmm.
But
Or
Mother Teresa
popularity.
was the most successful
Yeah.
person, probably since Jesus, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like, seriously.
Yeah, you're
how
right.
do you measure that success?
Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
everybody's definition is different, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's kind of like Five Stone, kind of like his podcast, right? You know, for those of y'all that don't know, and I don't know who will hear this podcast years down the road, or maybe tomorrow if it gets released, whatever it is. But, you know, Five Stone was created not for a means to make me a living, right? Because I've already got a job and a career. It was done for a reason and for a passion.
yeah,
You know, we've got people, you know, that donate their time and their effort and the use of their equipment to get these podcasts done just so we can try to make an impact with people.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And I think that with that motivation, that drive, and that sense of purpose, and that, you know, that's what is going to make more impact than anything else.
yeah. You're right.
You know, like I don't care.
completely agree.
I don't care if I don't make $1 today. If this one podcast changes one person's life,
Yeah.
then so be it. It was all worth it, which is what one of our next podcasts is going to be about.
Yeah.
You know, she was worth it all. You know, that was the purpose I had.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so, you know, moral of the story for this one, go find your purpose.
Yeah.
You know, it's out there. Everybody's got a purpose.
Yeah.
And serve.
Yeah.
Purposely serve.
I love that.
Because if you don't serve, you're not going to get anything else out of it.
Yeah. We have got a guy that I can't really give what he does now, but he was I'll just say what he used to do. He was a presidential bodyguard who we got contacts with, and he listened to our podcast, and he's contacted me and requested a hat, requested some gear, because he just loves what we do and what we stand
yeah.
for. You know what I'm saying? So when you think about that, like, this person is across, I ain't gonna say where he's at, but he's across the United States doing a major elite job. And sitting here doing these podcasts is influencing those people. And whoever that person has influence with and spreads the news, spreads the word,
Yeah.
it's just a positivity. You know what I'm saying? We're not out here bashing stuff and giving negative feedback to the world and all that. It's all a positive reason and a purpose, like
Yeah.
our Motivational Monday, is because we want to make a difference.
Yeah.
We want to serve. That's our purpose, is to brighten people's day, to give them some focus, give them some drive, give them some motivation, give them that kick in the pants to be like, hey, go out and get this done.
Yeah.
Because somebody's life may depend on you. However you go and you turn this is up to you. You can listen to it and do nothing, or you can listen to it and do something.
Yeah. Go serve.
Yeah, get your kids and be like, hey, we're going on a trip today to wherever we're going. We're going to throw in this podcast, listen to it. Listen, seriously, guys, listen to this.
Yeah.
Who knows how that kid can interpret it, or a family member you might send it to. You know, that's why we do.
Well, just
what
like
we do.
that lyric that we brought up at the start, you know.
Yeah.
Mission.
Yeah,
But still is motivating.
yeah, it is.
You
Absolutely.
know, there's really no bad way that you could look at that
No.
to get, you know, some sort of, you know, motivation out of it,
Yeah,
for lack of better terms.
I love it. Rock on.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I think that's about it. I mean,
Awesome. So
good
again,
topic.
are you serving a purpose, or are you purposely serving?
Yeah.
Prepare, respond, and serve, because somebody's life may just depend on you.
Yep.
Somebody's well-being, somebody's health, somebody's mentality, somebody else's generations down the road, which is what this next podcast is going to be about.
Yep.
You know, she was worth it all. So check out that podcast here.
Yeah, that'd be a
coming
good
up.
one.
All right, man. We're out. Just catch you on the next one. This has been a production of Five Stone. I'd like to thank you guys for taking the time to check out our podcast and videocast today. You can check us out online at fivestoneusa.com. That's the number 5, fivestoneusa.com. We are also on all the social media platforms. Our podcasts are now live. Videocasts are on YouTube, and our audio podcasts are on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Music, all the major podcast platforms. Thank you, guys. Again, we cannot thank you much for all your support and all that you do for us. Remember, prepare, respond, and serve, because someday you might be that first responder.